For me personally, the month of October is one of the largest dividend payout months I've ever had as a long-term dividend growth investor, with certain days throughout the month paying me over $500 in a single day. In this video, we're going to go through every single dividend that I was paid out in the month of October, and we're going to break down all the holdings in my long-term portfolio to show you everything that I've added and taken away over the last month. Now, if this interests you, make sure to stick around, drop a like down below, and let's get right into it. Before we get into today's video, make sure to please hit the first link in my description to support my brand new Patreon to access things like my 31-page A to Z dividend investing ebook, access to my brand new custom dividend tracker to track all of your ongoing progress, to view my 7-figure dividend portfolio, and so much more. I can't wait to see all of you guys inside. So first things first, early in the month of October, I got a small dividend from QQQX, $17.64. Then on the 3rd of October, I got a dividend from KMB Kimberly-Clark, $1.18. Then also on the 3rd, I got my quarterly dividend payout from BNQ, the Vanguard Real Estate ETF, $18.90. Then I got my quarterly payout from Vici, $31.96. Then also on the 5th of October, I got paid $243.79 from JEPI, and on the same day I got paid out from JEPQ, $125.16. It's been pretty good over the last few months. We are starting to finally see a little bit more in dividend payouts from both JEPI and JEPQ, which I'm definitely excited about. Then on the 10th of October, Ultra paid $105.84. On the 12th of October, MPW, Medical Properties, paid $66.30. Then we got our Realty Income dividend payout on the 13th of October, $230.40. Now keep in mind, guys, in case you don't know, I do have more portfolios in different brokers. This is just one of my portfolios. And across all my portfolios across the board, as of right now, I'm hovering around 2,700 shares of Realty Income. And with the recent drops, I've been also adding some more. Next on the 13th, I got 24 cents from ADC, my first dividend from ADC, just a small position. Then I got the monthly dividend payout from Main Street Capital, $12.93. Then we got a small dividend from HRZN on the 16th, $1.10. Also on the 16th, Stag Industrial, 98 cents. Then we got a pretty decent one from WP Carey. WP Carey paid us $51.41. Then AMZY, the Amazon Yield Max ETF, paid 63 cents. APLY paid $3.35, TSLY $9.23. Then we got $1.05 from CEFD. We got 18 cents from SPHD. SPYI paid $5.58. Then on the 27th, towards the end of the month, we started to get some really big ones. Most of them actually were paid out at the end of the month this month, and it's just how the dividend frequency worked this month. Newsy paid $28.05. We got ETJ dividend, $24.26. Then we got our quarterly payout from JP Morgan, $105. Then XYLD, $70.95. QYLD, $136.78. Then RQI paid us 80 cents. AWP paid us 40. BUI paid us $9.80. We then got a $3 payout from SVOL. BDJ paid the normal $93.35. UTG paid $11.02. BST paid the usual $125.75. Then we got a massive dividend from Devo, $152.02. And lastly, a dividend from TRP, 67 cents. So what was kind of crazy about this month is that on the 31st of October, we got over 10 dividends from multiple different companies across my portfolio, which added up to well over $1,000 on a single trading day. Now what's crazy about this is that getting 10 dividends over $1,000 altogether is not necessarily all that rare for me at this point. After 7 years of dividend investing and putting every single dollar for the most part that I make actively, along with all these dividends being reinvested into more stocks and ETFs that pay dividends, the snowball is finally starting to work. Next, taking a look at all the holdings in this portfolio right now. Keep in mind, guys, like I said, this is not my only portfolio. So some of you might be saying, well, you only have 900 shares of Realty Income. I thought you said you had over 2,600. I do have other portfolios and other brokers, which I'll be sharing in the future. So make sure to subscribe. But this is where this portfolio sits as of right now. We still have my 1,000 shares of Apple sitting at close to $170,000, which is kind of crazy. Then we have Realty Income, 918 shares of Realty Income. We got 1,100 shares of Devo. We got 671 shares of JEPI in this portfolio. Then we have 1,000 shares of Verizon. We have 503 shares of BST. We got 561 shares of EPD. We got 100 shares of JP Morgan, 300 shares of JEPQ, 820 shares of QYLD. 184 shares of SCHD, which I've been buying the most SCHD as of recently. That's been the position I'm really trying to build up as of right now, especially while SCHD has been beat up in price a little bit, yielding almost a starting yield of around 4%. I have been loading the boat with SCHD as of recent. Next, we got 1,661 shares of BDJ. We got our 300 shares of OHI. We got our 185 shares of XYLD. We got 115 of Altria MO. Then we have 215 shares of NewC, 107 of National Retail, 47 shares of PNW, 24 shares of UPS, 419 shares of ETJ, 48 shares of WPC, 77 shares of Vici, 442 shares of MPW, 55 shares of Matrix Capital, 26 shares of VNQ, 16 shares of EXR, 15 shares of SPG, 81 shares of BUI, 58 shares of UTG, 50 shares of WBA, 59 shares of KMI, 42 shares of QQQX, then we got 20 shares of PBA, 12 shares of SPYI, TRO we have 6 shares, DLR we have 4, TSLY we're up to 40 shares in this portfolio, SVOL we're up to 15 shares in this portfolio, STAG we're at 8, APLY 7, KMB we're at 1, HRZN we're at 10, EMB we're at 3, then RQI we have 10 shares, CEFD we have 4, ADC we have 1, ABR we have 4, SPHD we have 1, TRP we have 1, AWP we have 10, AMZY and ARCC we have 1. And for those of you that are still watching the video at this point, first off, thank you so much. And this portfolio is currently valued at around $481,000. Now, out of all the holdings in this portfolio, as you can see, there's some positions that I probably could get rid of, especially the positions that I just have a few shares of. A lot of times the way that I sort of do research on if or if not I'm going to start a new position, sometimes I'll add just a share or two of a position and see how it trades over, say, a month time frame. But to be completely honest, there's lots of different companies, lots of different ETFs in this portfolio that I could probably consolidate, which is honestly what I'll probably be doing sometime soon here. Now, on top of that, like I touched on earlier, my biggest goal as of right now is to add more SCHD, the Schwab US Dividend Equity ETF, into my long-term portfolio because this ETF, for one, crosses off pretty much everything I'm looking for as a long-term dividend growth investor, and I do feel like I'm sort of underweight a real stable foundational ETF like SCHD. Now, also to go along with that, just to be completely transparent, I am possibly planning on selling off my Apple shares, maybe within the next few months before the end of the year, taking some profits and rolling that money into SCHD. Because, for example, if I was to sell my 1,000 shares of Apple at around $170,000, I could buy quite a bit of SCHD and raise my monthly dividend income quite a bit. Now, the only reason I might not want to do that is because this portfolio overall is pretty much relatively low beta, other than Apple. Apple's the only position in this portfolio that does tend to move a little bit more, but the rest of this portfolio is sort of slow and steady, which I really don't mind at all. Now, the last thing I wanted to share with you guys for this sort of portfolio update video, whatever you really want to call it, is my estimated annual income as of right now. And this is only estimated. I know a lot of these numbers in here are wrong. Like, for example, it shows that JetB pays 60 cents per share, which we know is not the case. But as of right now, this portfolio is generating somewhere around $2,000 to say $2,200 on a monthly basis, with some months being, of course, much higher than others. In longer term, my goal is to get this portfolio to a point to where it's generating around $30,000 on an annual basis, just from dividends alone. So now that we went over all the dividends that were paid out in the month of October and my entire portfolio as it sits right now, I want to hear from you guys down below. Out of this entire portfolio, which is your favorite holding that I currently have and which is your least favorite? Drop it in the comments. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to please drop a like on it and subscribe for more future content like this. Thanks as always for stopping by, and if you are interested in investing, make sure to check out these recent videos I posted right here.